Brown it.
What's up, guys? This is Michael with On the Offside, and today I'm here with Derek. Unfortunately, Matt and Colby couldn't be with us this week, but we'll go ahead and get straight into it. Round one of the playoffs out of the way, so we're going to do a little recap on that. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and start with some of the teams in the AFC and I think it'll be easier, and then we go over to the NFC after that. Not a lot of close games this weekend. That's the first thing I noticed. I mean, I think out of the 6 games, 2 of them were close, and that's really about it. Starting off with, I was going to go ahead and start with the Bills beating the Pats game. I'll be honest, that game surprised me. I think me and you were talking, Derek, earlier about like how the deficit in that. You know, I did not expect the Patriots to get beat that bad by the Bills. We had some technical difficulties on last week's video, so I didn't get to post the ones of you all, but I believe Matt actually called for the Patriots to be his prediction for the Super Bowl, so that's a quick on that one. Yeah. So, but for real, I thought the Patriots, a Bill Belichick coach team that's done well this year, I thought would be a lot more competitive in the playoffs. You know, and the Bills though showed up. I mean, Josh Allen, from what I've seen, he went off, and I loved it. I hate the Patriots, so you know, of course, I was loving every moment of it. I didn't get to watch the game that much, but I was definitely keeping up with the score, and I partake in some trash talk, you know. So I did enjoy it, but yeah, that one really shocked me, Derek. What did you think on that one?
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me this week. I think Josh Allen threw more touchdowns than he threw incompletions. You know, I think it just shocked me how efficient the Bills were on offense. You know, they've kind of been hit or miss at times this season, but you know, Josh Allen looked like the guy that everybody was talking about coming into the season. You know, potential MVP candidate. He can do it all, and he makes the Bills look really scary this week going into Kansas City. But you know, I think the big takeaway from me from just that game is just, you know, the Patriots are going to be back. Mac Jones is a rookie quarterback, but defensively, the Patriots shocked me. The fact that they let Josh Allen, you know, go off as much as he did.
Right. Yeah, you kind of expect a struggle out of the rookie for his first playoff game, but the defense that should have been the more sound part for him there, and really failed him this week. So, but that's how it goes. Sometimes playoff football is a different story. So, Bills came ready to play. Speaking of Kansas City, and he's talking about, you know, that Bills team probably looking at getting another shot at that too. So, but Kansas City also looked like the Kansas City team we're used to seeing. You know, Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns. Travis Kelce even got him a touchdown throw in there, along with the reception, and he had an insane game. And the Steelers, though, Derek, I know it's one of the teams you root for, so it's probably rough to see. But I mean, I felt like going into it, they kind of did not expect it. You know, not that anybody was expecting the Steelers, I think, to win this game, but I know I'd seen the thing about Big Ben when he was talking about they're not supposed to be there, and this is not a team they're supposed to beat. I don't know if it's like a reverse psychology thing or not on that, but yeah, they were not. You can tell they were outmatched in this game.
Yeah, they were, and I think Ben's right. They didn't deserve to be there, and I hate saying that because I do like the Steelers. But you know, I mean, and I was talking to one of my friends about that. They said, you know, I wonder if Big Ben has some magic still left up in his sleeve. And I was like, no, the magic was used up even getting to the playoffs. You know, I thought really their only way of winning that game was maybe, you know, TJ Watt and those guys putting pressure on Mahomes. You know, I think the Chiefs are on their 3rd string left tackle. But at the end of the day, it's the result we all thought it was going to be. You know, Ben can't throw the deep ball anymore. You know, we've seen that with guys like Breeze and like Peyton. Once they get to this point of retiring, maybe Tom Brady will get there when he's 55. But, you know, it's just one of those things. They couldn't establish the run. Najee had 12 carries for 29 yards. But I think the future is bright in Pittsburgh. They've got a really good defense, a lot of really good young wide receivers. But we'll talk about next year. Next year, they've got to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. But it's sad for me growing up because I watched Ben get drafted. Like I watched him his rookie season, tear it up. I went up to Pittsburgh that year and ate a Roethlisberger. Like that's how much it hits home to me to watch him, go out like that. But it is what it is. The end result of that game is kind of what I expected, and it stinks. But Pittsburgh will be back.
Oh yeah. For him, it's almost like as a Steelers fan, do you kind of the way that it ended up ending, you almost like wondered, do you kind of wish that would have been a tie and the Chargers been the team that had been there as an NFL fan anyways, and then Big Ben would have won his last game and then kind of rode off in the sunset kind of thing. But at the same time, I mean, you get to the playoffs. I'm sure any Pittsburgh fan was excited to be in the playoffs. But I think I would have liked to see Justin Herbert and the Chargers in that game instead. I think it could have been a little bit better game, but it is what it is. And kind of moving on to the last their AFC game, the Bengals and Raiders. That was a close game. Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be. I think him and then Jamar Chase is insane, but I think that's going to be the future of the Bengals. There, I think they're a little young this year. Then again, they're playing the Titans coming up this weekend. I don't know how that's going to go, but this team's going to be something to handle, I think, kind of going forward. Definitely got a lot of offensive weapons and a great offense. That being said, the Raiders played a good game too. I did get to watch some of that one. I know there was like that controversial call there where the Bengals scored a touchdown, but the whistle was blown or something. My only issue is is Joe Burrow was not out of bounds at all, not even close, and I don't think that affected the play. The whistle blew literally as the ball's in the air. I personally don't. I know the rule, but I don't think it affected anything, honestly, as far as the game went.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't get to watch that game, but I just kind of kept up with it on my phone a little bit, so I didn't get to see it. But it's like you said, it was a close game. I think the Bengals are really good. They're really talented. They're really young. They're exciting. Hats off to the Raiders for even getting there. That I love the city of Las Vegas, so the Raiders I'm partial towards them, I guess. Not even a lot, but I'm like, okay, good for them. I'm not going to pull for the Bengals. They're in the Steelers division. But that team that they've got in Cincinnati is very fun to watch. It's very exciting. And, hats off to the Raiders with everything that they've dealt with this season to even make it to the playoffs, I think is phenomenal. And I need people to quit sleeping on Derek Carr. He's a really good quarterback. I would love to have him in Carolina right now. I'll tell you that much. And he'll be a starter for a while. So, I mean, he played really well. I mean, he had a lot of incompletions, but he did throw for 300 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting game. Definitely was. My opinion, it was the best game to watch in the AFC this weekend, so it's the only close one. Kind of moving on to the NFC, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Rams and the Cardinals, and the reason I'm going to do that is because, mid-season, this is possible NFC championship matchup. I think anybody could agree, and ends up being first round of the playoffs and just not even close. Cardinals just get destroyed. They're not even – the Cardinals just ended in such a disappointing way at the last half of the season for what they started out as, and they looked like they were the real deal first half of the season. Kyler was a MVP candidate until in the first half. But, yeah, to see it go from an possible NFC championship matchup that people would have predicted earlier on to what it was, honestly just a disappointing game. I'm not disappointed the Rams won or anything. That's not the either one of those teams could have won, and I would have been fine with that. But as a football fan, it was just kind of a disappointing game because that could have been, earlier in the season, that would have been such a big game. It's just wild to see how that turned as the season ended.
Yeah. And they put that as like a prime time, like Monday night game. Like that's supposed to be the game of the week. Peyton, Manning cast is out there. They're watching the game, talking about it. I honestly fell asleep during the game, if that tells you how exciting it was.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a takeaway from this game that I think is impactful as we move forward. And Von Miller actually started to show up on this defense. He really hasn't done a whole lot ever since they acquired him. that was supposed to be a huge thing to like push that defense over the top. You've got Aaron Donald, you've got Jalen Ramsey, you add Von Miller to that. It's like that should be a Super Bowl caliber defense. And you think about the other side of the ball. Cam Akers ran the ball incredibly well. You've got Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, OBJ's got more touchdowns. He's got like 6 touchdowns in the last 9 games. I think the Rams are dangerous. I think they're putting pieces together. Von Miller's getting comfortable. Odell's getting comfortable. But I do want to say this to the Cardinals defense. Losing DeAndre Hopkins hurt that team so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's so evident. And, Kyler's still a young quarterback. He's going to learn. He's going to get better. But just imagine, going out to the playground and, being able to throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins and all of a sudden he's not there anymore. It's like, think about how hard that would be, how hard of a transition that would be for anybody. And, I think it shows in their offense. They couldn't really run the ball that well. But, hats off to the Rams. I think they're very dangerous moving forward, especially with those pieces starting to mesh and Cam Akers coming back.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that take with the Rams, by the way. That was a good take on that. Because like I said, I think Von Miller, he led in tackles this game finally. And was it 6 maybe? Something, yeah.
I think somebody had 7, but 6 for him coming off the edge is a lot. he had 3 tackles for a loss and a sack. So
yeah, they definitely look scary, and the offense clicking. OBJ out there, it's best game he's had. Well, definitely with the Rams, but the entire year. He hadn't played anything like that with Cleveland. Yeah, they're definitely clicking at the right time. They could be a dangerous team for sure. Kind of going on we'll go ahead and go to the Bucks beating the Eagles. You said earlier you made a comment about the Eagles just kind of made it there, and they did. Eagles fans, you made the playoffs. I'd be happy with that. I like Hurts, but the Bucks were able to stop him, and they really just shut the Eagles down. Eagles scored a couple times late in the fourth quarter that made that game closer than what it was. On the offensive side for the Bucks, though, Tom Brady is 44 years old, right? 44. Just want everybody.
44. Yeah.
And he was right there in playoff form, Tom Brady. So it's just wild to see at this point. And I've always been like someone that's rooted against Tom Brady. Everybody knows I hate the Patriots. So that's where that rooted and started. But I like him better that he's not with the Patriots, if I can say that. But I still have to give respect when it's due, and it's insane what he's doing right now. Gronk, I do like to see kind of Gronk playing well. So the Bucks look good. They look like they're in playoff form as well, I thought.
Yeah, and their defense was in playoff form too. Hats off to the Eagles for making it there. I don't know what it was about those Pennsylvania teams just kind of, squeaking their way in the playoffs to get, beaten very badly. But the Bucks returned everybody from the Super Bowl team minus shirtless Antonio Brown. So it's kind of what you expected from them this season. I think Leonard Fournette comes back for the Bucks this week. So and Giovanni Bernard's not a bad back. Vaughn carried the ball pretty well too. So getting Fournette back will be big for them. But they just controlled this game from the get-go. Jalen's not there yet. I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. I hope he gets it together. I don't like Philadelphia, so I really wish he would get it together somewhere else. But a lot of respect for Jalen. Obviously, a lot of respect for Tom Brady. At this point, I'm just going to say that I like the guy. He's hilarious on social media. He's a very likable guy. He loves what he does. He's passionate about what he does. He's the best at what he does. So, hats off to him. I'm not pulling for him to get another championship, but if he does, I'm going to sleep just completely fine. So,
well said. Well said. Also, if you have any good advice on this podcast, it's probably a good idea to always put in a 2 weeks notice before you leave your job.
That is a good idea. You shouldn't quit in the middle of a shift, and you definitely shouldn't take your clothes off while you're quitting in the middle of a shift.
Yeah. You can bring the uniform back later or something.
Yeah. Well, he pretty much put it under the bench. He was like, okay, well, this is done.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he threw his gloves in the stands. So, yeah.
Real interesting story there, but
And honestly, I think if they had Godwin, they wouldn't even miss him at all. Sometimes losing guys like that in your locker room is just a good thing. But where they're already down Chris Godwin, it kind of stinks. They got Mike Evans, they've got Gronk, but they're going to need other people to step up if they plan on making a push.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with what you're saying. If with Chris Godwin, you can kind of deal without having AB on the team, which is crazy because he's such a talent. But in the locker room, you don't want that kind of stuff going on, anyways. Honestly, even without Chris Godwin, I think for them moving forward, it does kind of stink to lose a weapon. But you don't want the negativity like that in the locker room either. So with whatever's going on there, though. Going into the next game, this one's fun. San Francisco beat the Cowboys. And I was watching the end of this game, a wild ending. Not sure with no timeouts. I mean, okay, if he maybe slides a little sooner, he ran a little too far, ran a little too much time off the clock. But also, you have, by rule, I think in NFL, the ref has to be able to touch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They lined up and were kind of in the way at that point.
Yeah.
And you see in the video, the refs trying to hurry to touch the ball to get, for them to have the ability to snap it, spike the ball, have a time to get one play off. I wish they would have got a chance at it. It would have been nice to see that at the end, just as a fan, see what would happen. But man, when it boils down to it, the Cowboys just don't win in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they just don't.
As a fan of football, I wish they had had an opportunity to have a shot at the end zone. As someone who doesn't like the Cowboys, I don't like the 49ers either. The 49ers, a lot of people don't know this, the 49ers and Panthers used to be rivals. When the Panthers first came into the NFL, don't ask me how this makes sense, but they were in the NFC West. So the 49ers were our biggest rival when we were out there. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a weird thing. I don't remember exactly how that worked out or why it was or the reasoning, but we were in the NFC West, and then the divisions realigned, and then, obviously, now we're in the NFC South. So I don't like the 49ers. But, yeah, it's what you said. I mean, you've got to know the rules. I know it's hard in that moment. You want to just set the ball down and just go and just spike the ball. But you've got to know that's where, coaching comes in. That's where awareness comes in. Like, the umpire has to set the ball down or touch it. So whenever Dak slid, if you're him, your first thing you need to do is hand the ball, find the umpire and hand him the ball.
Yeah.
Because nothing else is going to happen until that does. But I think he should have slid before, but it's neither here nor there. I think it was kind of the right play call, which sounds weird because it didn't work out. I think if it had been executed correctly, it caught San Francisco off guard. I mean, I can't even remember how many yards they went for, but it was a good 10 to 15-ish yards. Yeah. So it caught everybody in the stadium off guard, and they got good yardage out of it. Like I said, just didn't execute it. I did want to say this, though. The Dallas Cowboys have not made it past the divisional round since 1995. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Weird. It's been that long. We don't even remember that. They have. Go ahead.
I feel like I would have talked about that in my kindergarten class, but not.
They have won 4 wildcard games since 1996, and that is it.
Yeah, I've
the
seen
boys
a lot
are the boys. That is it.
A lot of
the boys
memes.
Are the boys.
Yeah, but all in all, it was a pretty decent game. It was close.
Yeah.
Cowboys fans, there's always next year.
Yeah, and they have a lot of talent, and I think they should be excited. Micah Parsons is a beast. He'll be around. CeeDee Lamb's going to be around. Dak's going to be around. I don't know Zeke's contract status. I think he's still there. I think Pollard's still there. So, and then Amari, and I mean, go on and on. Michael Gallup. They've got plenty of talent. It's just a great offensive line. So,
but break that
they might win a wild card game in our lifetime again. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll eventually break. I don't know about Super Bowl, but they'll break it.
I prefer it without them winning the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, true. Same. Well, I think that wraps up on the games this weekend. So mostly, I like to see some closer games in the playoffs. I will say I was watching that Raiders and the Bengals game, and I do love playoff football and how hard the NFL players are playing at that level. It's like, um, a lot of people will say that NFL kind of gets a little bit of the, college atmosphere kind of has that rivalry and just playing hard, and like some people will say that the NFL kind of loses that a little. But I feel like playoff time, it's just everybody's fighting for every point and just really trying to win those games, and so it's great to see. But
yeah. Well, if you're the Jags and the Texans playing in Week 17, why would you play hard? The same
absolutely,
people should be saying stuff about the NBA and how they don't play defense to the playoffs too. So,
yeah,
just saying.
absolutely. So we got some questions about this weekend. So Derek, I'll let you start. One is the surprise from the weekend. Who was your surprise this weekend?
To Matt's credit, talking about how good the Patriots are, my surprise for this weekend is Buffalo's winning margin. How good Josh Allen
Mm,
was. I mean, shouldn't be understated. I mean, he's a great quarterback, but
yeah,
I mean, 5 touchdowns to 4 incompletions, not interceptions,
great.
incompletions. Like
Yeah,
that just shocked me. So that was my big surprise. And I think Kansas City if Buffalo wins that game close, maybe they're not fearing them as much, but I think Buffalo's pretty terrifying to look at right now. They're playing really well.
yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree with that. Mine, I'm going with the 49ers beating the Cowboys. Um, and the reasoning is I know everybody makes the jokes about the Cowboys, um, but the talent that the Cowboys have had and the way they played this year, on paper, looks like that's the team that should have definitely won that game. Um, for me, it's just that the 49ers beating the Cowboys kind of surprised me. Um, I just think the Cowboys had like they had like two receivers over 1,000 yards, Dak Stone for like over 4,000. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and then their defense to think that the Cowboys had a very solid playoff team. But that was mine surprise for the weekend. Um, and then another question here: which wild card team do you think has the best Super Bowl shot after seeing it played out this weekend?
I know this seems kind of like a cop out, but I'm going to go Kansas City. I think they've got the weapons. I think Mahomes has been there. I mean, they've won the AFC the last 2 seasons. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't still, in a way, be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl at least. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. But the AFC is wide open, in my opinion.
And I'm going with on the NFC side of things. Almost like you were talking about that being a cop out, but I'm going for the Bucks. I think the way their defense is, Tom Brady just playing the way he is, and the experience that he has, and the way they looked. I just feel like I'm gonna pick the Bucks. Granted, there are a lot of great teams in these next few rounds, couple rounds that could honestly any of them I could see actually being in the Super Bowl. If you told me that any two teams that are left right now are playing in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't completely be shocked or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, the Bucks is the team I want to take there for that.
Yeah, this year just has the feel that it could be like a couple of teams that just get hot. Like those years that the Giants went and won the Super Bowl, they were wild card teams, and that was before they expanded the playoffs. So it's like, I mean, if Cincinnati and San Francisco met up, would I be shocked? Absolutely. But I think the talent is there for both teams. I don't think they're as talented as teams that they're going to be facing, but where they're just hot, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting into this weekend coming up, got some big games. I'm going to go ahead and start with my Titans and the Bengals. For me, I have to pick the Titans. Can't pick against my team. But seriously, I really do. I'm going to go with the Titans this weekend. Very excited to have Derrick Henry back. Believe he's going to be back and playing. My thought on this weekend is kind of how is he going to do? Is it going to be a full just like he never left type thing, or are we going to have to ease into it? And with I'm hoping. I mean, as far as I can tell, I think everybody's kind of back at AJ Brown. And AJ Brown's going to have to be big in this game. The Titans' defense is going to have to be big in this game. That's one of my key takes of the Titans' defense because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been lighting it up. They're going to have to shut down Jamar Chase and really put the pressure on the other players on the Cincinnati's team. And the defense is going to be the key to the game for me. I know Derrick Henry's going to be back and the Titans moving the ball, but that defense is going to have to play lights out. And then, of course, I obviously want to see A.J. Brown in the offense just clicking and Derrick Henry running the ball and it going well. But the key for the Titans for me is going to play good offense, don't turn the ball over, and the defense really stop Cincinnati. I think that's the key to winning this weekend.
Yeah, I think the Titans need a big game from Byard, Simmons, and Landry. But, I think they should win. I mean, they're at home. Derrick Henry's going to be back. I think there's going to be just a new energy, just knowing that the King is back. Give him his crown back. King Henry, best running back in the game. But what I would like to see the Titans do, and I was talking to one of my friends about this earlier, I said I would like to see them use like Foreman in the first half and then Henry in the second. Kind of get the defense a little bit tired and then just let Henry go out there with those fresh legs and just do what he does. And obviously the game will kind of dictate how much they're able to do that, but I don't want to put too much on him. But I mean, right. Derrick Henry normally is the guy that goes out there and just wears them down in the first half and then just goes off in the second because he's the best in the world at what he does. So, but I don't want to put a full game workload on him right now. And especially when the Titans really don't have a number 2 wide receiver that I'm crazy about. I mean, you're going to be passing the ball to A.J. Brown. Ferkster's going to get some touches. But, Foreman proved to be a very effective runner at the end of the season. Yeah. And so I would like to see him in the first half, Henry in the second, and maybe not that cut and dry, but I don't want Henry to play the whole game. I don't want to put that much of a workload on him the way that they normally do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of those things, if Henry gets going and he's going off, then sure. But yeah, I agree with that. We need to kind of monitor that and how much we use him coming off of this injury. So, but I'm excited for it. Again, I think I told you all earlier. If I believe if the Titans make it to the AFC Championship, I'm supposed to be going to that game. So, be exciting to see. But yeah, I'm definitely pumped for it. That's what I'll be watching on Saturday. So, let's see. Getting into some other games this week. Do you have some of the other teams down there that we got coming up as well? Obviously, that's the one I've been mainly focused on.
So Saturday night's 49ers Packers.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll just go ahead and run with this one. So the Packers should win this game. I mean, they should win this game. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that they do. I know it's not a huge shock. They're the Super Bowl favorites according to sports books, but I don't think Rodgers is going down this early in the playoffs. Again, wouldn't shock me the way the 49ers have been playing lately. They beat the Rams pretty handedly not too long ago to get into the playoffs. I think they're just a team that's hot right now. I think their offensive scheme is complicated for teams to plan for. Deebo Samuel is a weapon. I mean, an absolute weapon. But I just think Rodgers doesn't lose this game at home. So give me Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it and make a bold prediction on this. Packers are going to win this game, and obviously that's what people are thinking. But 49ers, you had a good run. You got the playoffs, won the first game. Deebo is an absolute beast, but it's going to end here, and I'm just going to I might be eating my words next weekend, but 100% confidence. I say the Packers. I don't see the Packers losing this football game. I would be absolutely shocked if they did.
Yeah, it's one thing to go into Dallas and win a game in a dome. It's another to go beat Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just don't – I don't think the Packers or the 49ers have what it takes for that to happen.
Yeah.
Good season, though. But we'll see. That's why the game's played.
Yeah.
And then so moving on to Sunday, some of the games that we have there. If you want to start on that one, we can get if you just want to walk us through the rest of those games, and then we'll.
That works. Yeah, so 3:00 is Rams Bucks. I said last week that I felt like Tampa was going to win this game, and it was going to be. I think I said Tampa. I can't remember. I said Tampa was going to end up drawing Green Bay. I think I'm pretty sure that's what I said. However, I'm going to change my stance on that because of how well the Rams played last week. I think that the Rams defense is a huge difference maker. I'm going to say they end up getting a pick six, and I'm going to say that the Rams end up winning this game in Tampa. The Magic's over. The Magic's never over. Brady's going to play for another 7 years. But the way the Rams played last week, and I think OBJ getting acclimated in that offense, Von Miller being a huge difference maker now on that defense, give me the Rams. I'm always going to pull for defensive teams. So, although Leonard Fournette coming back does throw a wrench in my prediction, but I'm going to go with underdogs. Give me the Rams.
Honestly, good pick. I think I'm going to go with the Bucks. I'm going to stick with them on this one, but I do think this is going to be a good game. More excited about it after how the Rams have played this past weekend. So I do expect a really good game, and I would not be shocked if you were right on that. So honestly, I think that's a good pick for anybody, either way you go. But picking, I think it's kind of 50-50 on it, really. But I'm going to go with the Bucks, just with Tom Brady and the experience he has. And it's the same Bucks team for the most part that won the Super Bowl last year. So, because on the flip side of things, they have a great defense. So I mean, it's a good matchup. It's a really good matchup, honestly. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, should be a good weekend of football. And then Sunday at 6:30, we got Bills Chiefs, which I think was made a lot more interesting this weekend. We've seen two sides of both of these teams. Kansas City started out the season slow, but then they came on really strong. And that's part of the reason why I'm so scared of the Bengals for the Titans, but because the Bengals beat the Chiefs second to last week of the season, and then the Bills obviously looked super dominant last week. So I think the Chiefs are going to win. It's at home. It's at Arrowhead. Been there, done that. Kind of pulling for the Bills personally, just because half their staff used to be on the Carolina Panthers staff. But I think the Chiefs win this game. I think they've got too many weapons. The Bills do have a great defense. There are a lot of coin toss games this weekend, and that's what I've been so excited for. Literally every single one of these games could go the opposite direction of the way I picked it, and I wouldn't be shocked. So I do think the Chiefs win because they're at home. Buffalo, if they were at Buffalo, maybe I'd feel a little bit differently. But between Kelsey and Hill and everything else that they've got going on, Mahomes being Mahomes, I don't think that the Bills can do that again. I don't think they can run that back the way they did against the Patriots. So I think the Chiefs will win.
I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I think it's going to be a great game. But I think the Chiefs are going to get them again this year. But I like this game. I look forward to this game. I like both of these teams. I have nothing. I like Mahomes. I like Josh Allen. Nothing against either one of these teams. So it's a good, fun game to watch. I won't be disappointed. Whichever one wins. Part of me almost wants the Bills to win, and then the Titans play the Bills in the AFC Championship because the Titans did. I mean, Titans beat either one of these teams, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think the Titans might match up a little better against the Bills. I don't know why. I just and even though they dominated the Chiefs earlier in the year, this is a different Chiefs team in the playoffs, and so I'm going to say that the Chiefs are going to win it. I just feel like they're playoff Mahomes here, and I feel like they're going to win this game. But I do think another close game. These games are good this weekend, and especially on Sunday. I think that could go either way again.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
As far as the game goes, kind of.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Real quick, and this is from ESPN, so I don't know who they use. It's from Caesar Sportsbook. But looking at the spreads of the game, 3.5, 5.5, 3, 1.5. So excited for this weekend of football. If the Titans win, I'll be feeling a lot better just watching the games. I mean, I'm not like a huge Titans fan, you know that, but I do like relatively pull for the home state team. But if they win that game, I'm going to be watching the rest of the playoffs, just enjoying it. I think there's going to be a lot of really good games this weekend.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. And
Yep.
Getting that crunch time close to the end here. So, since we are getting close to the end, we've got some kind of questions reflecting on this season. I think we can go ahead and make our MVP prediction. I'm as bad as I'd say it. I'm going to say Tom Brady. My reasoning is just what he leads. I think in passing yards. What he's doing at his age. I just think I'm going to go with Tom Brady. I don't know. I don't really have like this crazy reason why I should be over like Aaron Rodgers and some of the others, but I'm going to go with Tom Brady on it.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick at all. I am going to go Rodgers. I know it's at this point in the season. I want to say it's a cop out, but it's kind of not because it's what I think has already happened after the fact. But I do think Rodgers is the MVP. He's got the highest quarterback rating, not QBR, which is a weird stat, but the highest actual quarterback rating. Mm-hmm. 37 touchdowns to 4 interceptions passing is just insane to me.
Wow.
So he's got his team with the number 1 seed in his conference. I think they're poised to make a Super Bowl run. So that's why I'm taking Aaron Rodgers as MVP.
Yeah, and I think those two are the leading candidates for the most part. Kind of have been this year. It's funny, the older guys are the ones kind of leading the way this year. Yeah. Moving on from the conversation, the coach of the year. Now, as a Titans fan, I might be a little biased to this, but I'm saying Mike Vrabel. Mainly though, look what he's done with the Titans, with the injuries and the craziness they've had this season without their star player, injuries they've had to fight through, and he's got them number 1 in the AFC. For me, that's just a resume to build for Coach of the Year right there. And
that's a mic drop moment. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think he does deserve it. If I was putting in my vote in the ballot box, I would be writing in Mike Vrabel, drop it in there, signed, sealed, delivered. But I do think the way that the voters are going to actually vote, I think they're going to give it to Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. I feel like they like to look for turnaround stories whenever they're giving out this award. And the Bengals, 2019, they were 2-14. 2020, they were 4-11-1. So, those were his first 2 seasons. And then this year they're 10-7. And I know they're not supposed to take playoffs into account, but you've got to think they beat the Chiefs very late in the season to clinch their division. And then they go and win a playoff game. Obviously we don't know what's going to happen in Nashville this weekend, but I do think that the award will ultimately go to Zach Taylor, even though I think that Vrabel should win it. Like I said, if I was casting a vote, that's where I would go. And maybe and I don't even think that's biased. I think the amount of injuries that they've dealt with, losing their best player and still clinching the 1 seed, I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah. And I get what you mean with Cincinnati. And obviously Cincinnati's had a great turnaround. Bengals fans have to be happy. So, but yeah, I can see that going that way. But definitely Vrabel's my pick, and we'll see. Just have to see how it goes. I guess see what they're taking into account for. But and the third question we kind of talked about going over tonight is comeback player. Speaking of the Bengals, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. second year. He tore his ACL last year. And he goes off this year. I think he's played great. He's got his team in the playoffs, got a playoff win. Joe Burrow's just my pick for comeback player this year.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that's the way that will go as well. I do want to throw a shout out, although I don't like the Cowboys. Dak Prescott had an amazing season too. I mean, again, I'm going back to quarterback rating. So, and I think this is kind of even shocking to me. If you look at the top 5 starters for quarterback rating, it's Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, and then Russell Wilson. Shock Kirk Cousins is up there. Not going to lie. But, Dak threw for almost 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. He won his division with the Cowboys, had the third best record in the NFC. I just don't want his season to go under the rug. But I do think Burrow will win that.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you on that. I mean, Dak Prescott has had a great year and I'm glad to see him. You hate to see an injury, ruin anybody's career or anything. So I don't know, when he first got hurt, people were like, ruin his career, and so it was good to see him back. It's good for the sport. So, but
and
I think that's probably about.
Alex Smith Award. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say they still need to rename it the Alex Smith Award. That was it. That was all.
Absolutely. 100%.
After what he came
I agree with that. Crazy, man. Crazy story there. But, yeah, definitely. As far as this week's podcast, I think that's really about all the content we have. Excited for the weekend, excited to see what kind of games we're gonna have, and hopefully, football fan, all close games. Maybe would be okay if the Titans didn't give me a heart attack and just went ahead and took care of business that game. But you want to see some good games this weekend. We always like to end these things on a real positive note, and some good advice or something. Think you got any for us this week?
Here's the positive note. We didn't have to listen to Matt Salisbury this weekend. I'm just kidding.
Very true.
But
Mark said,
yeah, exactly. But I do have a motivational thing, and it's just get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a great weekend of football. I mean, this is, next, obviously, Super Bowl's like, the big week, and then, conference championships are big. But, we've got 4 games. We've got 4 games this weekend. Saturday, there's going to be 2 great games. Sunday, 2 great games. I'm just excited. Playoff football. Love it.
Yep. Football fan, I shed a little tear there every time I see the playoffs. So let's go. But yeah, for all of you watching, thank you all. Let us know some comments on there. Let us know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. Who was your MVP? All that stuff. We'd love to talk with you all about that. As always, thank you all, and see you.
Peace.